last year I made a video about paranormal experiences and I guess you could say ghost stories. And I have had so many requests to make another one. So I thought that would be a good video to make today. I have a candle going and it's pretty quiet right now in the house, so hopefully we won't have too many disturbances. But yeah, this is just kind of going to be part 2 to that original video. And for those of you who have not seen that video or who may want to view it again, I'm going to link it in the description below. Just like with the last video, everything that I'm going to talk about is true and actually happened. I'm not making any of this up. So these are all real life experiences that I have had and just things that I've gone through. And I'm going to share several of those in this video. So I hope that you enjoy it. And even though it might be kind of scary or spooky, I hope that you find it relaxing to listen to. The first story that I'm going to start out with, this was something that happened many, many years ago in the city that I grew up in, which is Conyers. There was a lot of farmland at one time there, and there still is a pretty good amount of farmland. But we were driving one night, my entire family, and there was this shadowy, not really shadowy, almost like a fog-like figure in the middle of the road. You could tell that it was a figure. It wasn't just like a big thing of fog. There was an outline and you could kind of like make out a body. There was no head or face or hair or anything like that, but it was definitely a figure. So we originally just thought, that it was just fog, but the closer we got, we could see that there was something just not right. It definitely was just not like a patch of fog. And it went from one side of the road to the other. We did not have any choice other than to drive through it. So my stepdad slowed down and he went through it. And when he went through it, we all at the same time just kind of gasped. And there was this chill-like feeling that we all experienced at the exact same time. So none of us said anything for about, 5 or 10 seconds. And then at the same time, my mom and I said, "Did you feel that?" And of course, we were all like, "Yeah, So my stepdad decided that he was going to turn around. So he drove a little further and turned around in a church parking lot and he went back. Well, when he went back, the same figure was in the middle of the road again. And as we approached it, it went from the middle of the road to the left side of the road. And we didn't know what to do. So this was late at night. This was probably 10:30 or 11 at night. There were no other cars. So we just stopped there and watched to see what it would do. And it stayed there on that side of the road for, I'd say, probably 10 or 15 seconds. And then cars started to come from the opposite direction. There were 3 cars, and as they approached, this figure went back to the middle of the road, and we're sitting there just watching all of this, and it was so crazy. We had no clue, we didn't know what to think or what to say. We were just kind of just watching it, and all 3 cars drove through the figure the same way that we had, and then as the last car drove through, it went back to the other side of the road, the opposite side that it had been on. So we're not sure what that was, but it was definitely not just a patch of fog. My sister told us something very similar happened to her. I believe it was close to the same area several years after that, and she didn't know that we had experienced this. So she was telling us her story, and she was kind of freaked out when we told her that the same thing had happened to us. So that was just this year or late last year. I believe it was late last year. I think it was like around November or December. But Chris and I were sitting in the family room watching TV, and it was pretty late at night. And all of a sudden, one of our pictures fell that was on the TV. We have like a TV stand, and we have pictures of us and family and all of that on the TV stand. And one of those pictures fell down, and it wasn't a big deal. I mean, you know, we didn't think much of it when it happened. But about 5 minutes later, another picture fell down, and this picture did not just fall down. It almost flew off the stand and landed on the carpet. Instead of falling, you know, face down like the previous picture had, it literally went off the stand. So we're both kind of looking at each other, and I wanted to say something, and I knew that he did, but neither one of us really did. And so he went back and he put the pictures up, and about 30 minutes later, a picture fell off of our mantle above the fireplace. And by that time, we were both just like, what in the heck is going on? So he put the picture up, and we decided that we were just going to call it a night and go to bed. At about 2:30 that morning, we heard this loud crash. We had no idea what it was. I was freaking out because I thought someone was trying to break in downstairs. So Chris got dressed and everything and went downstairs and looked around. There was nothing there. He came back in the room and, you know, said he couldn't find anything. So me having the sleep issues that I already do, there was no way I was going to go back to sleep. So I laid there all morning from about, I guess, 2:33 until about 6 the next morning, just going over in my head like what that could have been. When I finally got up, or I should say when I was finally brave enough to get up, I went in our family room, and one of the larger pictures that was up on our mantle had fallen down to the fireplace, and so that's what the noise was. But there was absolutely no way that it could have fallen by itself. It was backed up against the fireplace mantle, so the picture had a back to it, and it was also backed up against the mantle, so there was no explanation, no reason why that should have happened. But yeah, that was kind of weird, and we still have pictures from time to time that do that. Not the way that did, not with, you know, several pictures all at once or within, you know, a certain time frame. Now, it's usually like one picture, and then several hours later, it'll be another picture. So, you know, we just put them back, and I don't want to say pretend like it didn't happen, because even still, we're just like, you know, what was that? But, you know, we just put it back and go about our day or our night. It's really weird, though. This next story that I'm going to share with you all happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago when Lexi was spending the night at our house. We had gone to the store and bought batteries for one of her toys because the batteries were dead. And it was this play phone that she likes a lot. And Chris put the batteries in, and it didn't work at all. So we were just thinking that it had just, you know, it was just broken. You know, we tried to fix it. We even tried a different set of batteries, and it didn't work at all. And so I was giving Lexi a bath, and Chris, he just said, "Come here, you've got to see this." And so I got Lexi out of the bathtub after she was done, and we went in there, and the phone was going off and working without batteries in it. He had taken out all of the batteries because, like I said, we just assumed that it was broke, and the phone was working. So I thought it was just like some weird, you know, like weird fluke or something. And so we like just sat there and listened to it and watched it, and it was off. The off switch was like off. So Chris turned it to the on position, and it wouldn't work anymore. And you know, we were just talking about it and saying how weird that was. And Lexi looked at me. She said, "What's weird?" And I said, "The fact that your phone doesn't have any batteries and it's working." And she said, "It's not working." And we're like, "Yes, it is." And she said no, and she said some name, and I couldn't even, it started with a J, it sounded like James, but I couldn't get her to pronounce the name. It sounded like James, but I asked her, I said, James, is that who you're saying? And she kept saying no. So I don't know the name that she was saying, but she said this person was playing with it. And Chris and I just kind of looked at each other, and we looked at her. I mean, she's at that age where, it's fun to make things up, and, you have imaginary friends in your head and all of that good stuff, but she was so serious about it. And I just said, well, I think your phone is broke. And she said, no, it's not. James wanted to play with it. Not James, but whatever the name was. So Chris and I, even after she went to bed that night, we talked about it, and we were sitting there trying to figure out who this person was that she was talking about, and we never could figure it out. There's no one that I knew or that I know with a J, and there's no one that he knew with that, with a J, or that even sounded similar to that. But the next morning, he was in the office, Chris was, and Lexi and I were coming in there, and just as we got to the doorway, one of her balls that was in her little play area rolled out of the thing and onto the floor. And there was no way that that could have happened at the angle that the ball was in the container. So it was almost as if someone pushed it or almost tossed it a little bit for it to go out of the container and onto the floor. And Chris was like, did you see that? And I said, yeah. And Lexi was like, I saw it too. And so I asked her, I said, so did your friend do that? And she looked at me like I was crazy. She said, no. But I don't know. It was just weird that both of those things happened, around the same time. So that's that story. I think I'll share one more with you guys. I'm like almost at 14 minutes on this, so I'll share one more. And this really isn't much of a story, but I have people ask me all the time, I guess from a lot of the videos that I've done, and I've talked about people passing away, people, that I've been close to, or family members, and I've had a lot of people, whether it's through YouTube or Facebook, ask me if I believe, in ghosts and spirits, and yeah, I definitely do. But when my grandmother passed away, I was 10. I believe I was 10. And if you've watched my Get to Know Me series, then you know that we didn't find out that she had passed away until quite some time afterwards. But I felt her presence around me from before, like we even found out before my grandfather told us that she had passed away. I felt her presence around me, and it has always been just a very calming and reassuring presence. Nothing scary or anything like that. And when I was younger, and I used to feel, I'd be upset about something or feel alone, I would always, pray and then act as if I was talking to my grandmother. And that helped me so much when I was younger. But the weird thing is that when my dad passed away in 2008, that presence of my grandmother just disappeared. And I mean, it disappeared the instant that I knew that he passed away. From that moment on, I have not felt it. And this was not a feeling or, I'm going out of focus. Hopefully it'll pick back up. But this was not just a feeling or a presence that I experienced, ever so often. This was constant. And so when my dad passed away, it kind of upset me that I didn't feel that around me anymore. And then there was a part of me that kind of thought, well, maybe I'm going to feel my dad around me, or, just know that he's kind of watching out for me. But he passed away in 2008, and I have never felt anything, not even, just nothing at all. When he passed away, he did not have a will or anything like that, and So I was in charge of selling his house, and it was just a big mess. But anyway, I had to go into the house and do things and clean it out and all of that. And he passed away in his house, in his bedroom. And even going in that room, like, I never felt anything good, bad, nothing at all. My sister has had several, I don't know if the word is encounters, I guess it would be experiences, encounters, I don't know, where she has definitely felt him around her and knows or knew for a fact that it was him. But it's just so strange to me, even now, that literally the day that he died, that presence of my grandmother just disappeared, and it had been around me for, gosh, I don't know, 17 years at that time. Maybe, 17 or 18 years, and then it just vanished. And, I guess for a while I thought that I would, feel something, or maybe my dad would give me some kind of sign to let me know that he was here, or, but nothing to this day. And it's not really a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it's just odd to me, I guess. But I don't know. I'm happy for my sister, because towards the end of his life, she had to spend some time with him. And I think she was the one that was most affected by everything. And so I think it's been somewhat healing and therapeutic for her to have those experiences. So yeah, I hope that you all have enjoyed this video and enjoyed listening to some of the stories. I don't know if I'll make another one of these anytime soon, but I do have many more stories to tell. I kind of like the idea of doing one once per year, especially this time of year. I think that's kind of neat. So I may do another one around Halloween next year. We'll see. If there's like a really high demand, I may do one before then, but I don't know. It just seems kind of fitting to do them at this time of year. I hope that you all are well, and as always, I hope that you have an absolutely amazing week or weekend, whenever it is that you're watching